Stefan is the professor of marketing at Sneal College in the College of Business at Penn State. As a doctoral student at Erasmus University in Rotterdam, he was winner of the 2000 ISBM Doctoral Support Award competition, which got him on our radar. Today, he's director of ISBM at Penn State, and prior to joining Penn State in 2018, he was director of the Graduate School of Business and vice dean at Koç University in Istanbul, Turkey. He was also a member of the faculty at Tilburg University in the Netherlands. His recent research focuses on the governance of B2B exchange, value networks, and the digitization of business solutions. He co-authored Social Networks and Marketing and the Connected Customer, the Changing Nature of Consumer and Business Markets. His research has recently appeared in many journals and in marketing and related fields. For his research, he received the KBS Medal of the Royal Netherlands Economic Association. He was named an MSI Young Scholar, and he received an Outstanding Faculty Award at Koç University. For his service to the academic journals, he received several Outstanding Reviews and an Area Editor Award. To us, he is a great friend and has leapt in behind Gary Lillian as Gary pseudo-retires, and has been helping us lead the next generation going forward. So I hope you'll enjoy what Stefan has and support him as he supports us in trying to understand where we need to go. So Stefan, here you are. I'll give it over to you.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you so much for a great introduction. And indeed, I followed Gary. Those are big footsteps to fill as the research director of the ISBM, which is at Penn State University. I'll be happy to share with you, all of you, nice, by the way, that you showed up on the second day. I'll be happy to share with you first insights on the ISBM B2B Trends Study. I haven't shared this with anyone before, so this is really a scoop. And I'm looking forward to your reactions and your thoughts. Before getting there, I wanted to just take a step back and think a bit about what I believe is a unique differentiator of the ISBM. Over the years, I could say over the decades, the ISBM has built up this vibrant corporate community on the one hand, but also a vibrant academic community on the other hand, putting the ISBM in quite a unique position as a bridge between the two. So the ISBM bridges B2B marketing practice and marketing academia. And I think that's where much of its strength lies. And so at Penn State, at the research side of the ISBM, we developed various research initiatives, including the competition that Lynn was referring to, that I once as a doctoral student participated in, that stimulates doctoral students to do research in the B2B arena, but also other activities like webinars, conferences, and so on. Another initiative that you may be familiar with is B2B Pulse, which we initiated, or at least revamped very recently. And that's an online portal for B2B marketing knowledge and best practices. Another project we're working on, especially now in 2021, it's a big project, is a second edition of the Handbook of Business-to-Business Marketing. So that book should appear, that volume should appear, if all of the 60 or so co-authors across the world bring in their chapters in time by the end of 2021. And then we have indeed the ISBM Fellows Program. And here's another scoop for you. I can share with you the two new ISBM Fellows that we have recently selected. Both of them will be formally inducted in this ISBM Fellows Program during an online event in August. It's open for academics, but we'll also open it up for members because this might be really interesting to hear these fellows' views on the future of B2B marketing. The first one is Mark Houston at the Neely School of Business of Texas Christian University, and he's been doing some great work on new products and brands in business-to-business markets. The second one is Sundar Bharadwaj. He is at the Terry College of Business at the University of Georgia, and he has been doing some fascinating research on marketing metrics and the marketing finance interface. So more on that in August, and we'll share the date and so on when these new fellows will be officially inducted in our program. And then, of course, we have as another activity that helps us bridge the community and practice with the academic community, that's the B2B Trends Study. And I'll share some first insights with you now. So why do we conduct such a trend study? Well, it helps us at the academic side to prioritize research projects that we're going to support. It helps at the membership side to continuously improve programs and other offerings. And for all of us, it can serve as a source of inspiration because sometimes unexpected issues actually come up during such a trend study. We try to do this regularly, but the last time this was done more or less systematically was actually 10 years ago now. So since then, the ISBM has tried to keep the pulse of what's happening, of course, in B2B markets and what are the future trends. But it had been a while, and we thought it was about time, especially with everything going on, that we would run a new trend study. All right, so this is the methodological approach, and I'd like to refer back to one thing that Jerry said yesterday during his presentation. There's an important distinction that we should make between qualitative research and quantitative research. Well, oftentimes we need to do both actually to set up a project, and we did that here. You could argue the qualitative phase of interacting with individuals in both communities goes back a couple of years, and we keep on talking, of course, continuously with important stakeholders and thought leaders. But we also organized a formal qualitative phase specifically for this trend study. So we talked with thought leaders in academia and practice, and we came up with a list of 60 items, 25 of which refer to challenges that B2B marketers will be facing in the next 3 to 5 years, 17 of which refer to skills and capabilities that they should acquire, and 18 of which refer to knowledge gaps that B2B marketers would need to address. Now, we then turned those 60 items into a survey, and we share that with experts in business-to-business marketing among our member firms and also B2B experts at the academic side. And despite the fact that we did this in the midst of a pandemic, when everybody was scrambling, right, we did get responses from over 100 experts. And so that gives us, well, over 6,000 importance ratings, basically, on a 1 to 7 scale. This is how we measured it, where 7 refers to critically important. Now, what I will share with you in terms of outcomes is, first of all, some insight into importance ratings of individual items, not all of them, but let's take a look at the top 5 of each of these 3 categories. I'll also look at some differences that we found between academics and business practitioners on the one hand, and some generational differences on the other hand that are quite interesting. And then in the step 2, I will present to you what we see as the overarching picture. What are the key domains of interest, the key priority domains? So let's start with the top 5 of 25 challenges. So what came out as the most important of all 25 challenges was leveraging B2B data analytics, followed by to create innovative customer experiences. And numbers 3, 4, and 5 were operating like digital natives, selling effectively while working remotely, and engaging customers in a new no-contact world. So let's move on to the skills and capabilities. There were 17. I'm just sharing with you the top 5 now, but of course more details we will share in the white paper that we're going to develop around this trend study, and that will be available for you. So the top skill or capability is to adapt to rapid environmental and industry changes, what we refer to these days as agility, followed by data analytics, driving rapid business response, effective selling in a world without face-to-face contacts, the ability to operate effectively in a world of uncertainty and rapid change, and as a 5th among 17, governing complex networked interorganizational forms. Now, you might already observe that some of these items appear to be related. Like the 1st and the 4th here reflect the ability to adapt to environmental change. So we will, we have already conducted these studies, but I will say a few things about additional analysis we ran to unveil these underlying dimensions, but we're still at the individual item level here. Finally, across the 18 knowledge gaps that we identified in the qualitative phase, these are the top 5 in terms of average importance ratings. How to manage large volumes of data, how to organize B2B marketing around the concept of value, how to use data science to enhance B2B decisions, how to adapt voice of the customer to the digital world, and how to improve decision-making in inter-organizational relationships. So these are the top 5s, purely descriptive information. We did some additional analysis that may be interesting, and that is, first of all, comparing differences, comparing the mean importance ratings between academics on the one hand and business practitioners on the other hand. And as in the previous trend study, the last one, like 10 years ago, we actually did find quite a number of differences here. First of all, there are a number of issues that practitioners appear to find more important than academics do. So for us academics, this is really important information to keep in mind. And they mostly relate to product markets combinations and go-to-market approaches, like remote MPD, remote new product launch, engaging customers, the value of marketing, scenario and risk analysis, adapting voice of the customer to digital, and B2B segmentation. The reverse is also interesting, I believe, that a number of issues seem to be more important for academics than for practitioners. And these have to do mostly with market structure and increased complexity. For example, the rise of digital natives, the complexity of supply chains and interorganizational forms, large volumes of data, automated channels, also privacy laws and issues was one of the factors that academics believe is going to be critically important. Now, one other distinction that we made was between 2 groups of respondents, depending on how long they've been in the business. And let me just verify, there's a chat. Yeah, that's from Lynn asking for feedback. Indeed, it would be fantastic to get feedback from us, but also for future meetings. So let me move on to the other distinction that we made, which was between generations. And this is the label we're using right now. Not sure if it's the right label, but we made a cutoff point at 15 years. Does a respondent have less than 15 years of experience in business-to-business marketing or more across academia and business practice? Interestingly, we saw that the more seasoned experts find B2B segmentation significantly more important than the junior ones. So this remains really something to think about and a capability to address. On the other hand, there are quite a number of factors that more junior experts find more important than the seasoned experts do. And these are mostly related to the social and digital dimensions of marketing, such as reimagining marketing in social media worlds, agility, social and digital communication, deep learning, automated service channels. This may also be informative to the more seasoned experts that the, let's say, younger generation is seeing important knowledge gaps and challenges in these social and digital domains. Final comments on these individual items. So imagine you're a respondent and you're given 25 capabilities. You need to read those carefully, evaluate those on a 1 to 7 scale. And then we still ask the other question. Non-committed respondents would never do the effort to write down additional capabilities that they could think of as important. However, it was clear that our respondents were quite committed because we had a lot of answers here, most of which were a little bit all over the place and mentioned only once. For example, something very specific to a particular industry or a particular technological digital tool. 2 themes, however, arose that were indeed not exactly captured in the items that we had included. The first one is B2B CRM. This was mentioned 6 times by 6 different individuals. And we did include aspects about the value of marketing, the value of customers, but not literally CRM. So this is easy to basically blend in what we already see as overarching themes. However, one theme came up that I found quite interesting because, again, this is unsolicited. These are individuals writing down what they believe is important and should have been covered as well. and it is sustainability. So there were 10 individuals, both academics and practitioners, that said it's important that we understand the impacts of B2B marketing on the environment and also the social impact. The vantage point sometimes differed. Like one respondent, one practitioner said, like, I want to understand the environmental impacts of our B2B activities. Another one said, I want to know what to do with this intense market pressure towards sustainability. So we need to probably do a bit more analysis or a bit more research to understand exactly what to study within this theme, but it seems to be really important. Now, finally, I want to step away from the individual items and show you the overarching picture that arises. We did do some additional analysis to reach that overarching picture. And again, the white paper will provide you with the details. But just to be brief here, we used some analysis, and one of which, an important one, was factor analysis. We have 60 different items, like 25 different capabilities, for example, but nobody thinks, when thinking about capabilities, in terms of a 25-dimensional perceptual space, right? So there are methods to actually reduce that to underlying dimensions. For example, a respondent that would find it very important to understand how to use artificial intelligence to improve business decisions, but that same respondent would systematically find the use of deep learning and data science to improve decisions important as well. Right? Those three items basically load on an underlying dimension, which is using, or we can label that, using digital tools in business decisions. So the factor analysis approach basically identifies distinct dimensions based on linear combinations of the items. And we were able to reduce the 25 challenges to 7 dimensions, the 17 skills to 6, and 18 knowledge gaps to 5 dimensions. So based on all the information, like the 6,000 importance ratings, right, across 60 items, the open-ended questions, and the factor analysis, this is the picture that we believe arises. First of all, I'm going to show you 6 key priority domains, and I'm going to use a single term to describe them. But the order in which I show them is not reflective anymore of importance. They're all 6 of them key priority. The first one is remote. Needless to say, this did not come up as an important theme about 10 years ago in a previous trend study. It's pretty clear where this is coming from, right? Remote business development and marketing remotely. The second one is agile. Interestingly, responding to environmental change was included in the previous trend study, but it did not come out as a key priority. It didn't receive very high importance ratings. Now, however, it's like top of the bill, right? Agile innovation, managing rapid change, and using B2B data analytics in the process. And the third one is digital. Of course, a lot has changed in the past 10 years with new digital tools, with new capabilities. So reimagining marketing in this new environment, using digital to improve decision-making. I believe that these 3 themes are, well, obviously somehow related to the COVID crisis that we've all been going through, and the turbulence and the need to use certain technologies remotely over the past year or year and a half. Interestingly, 2 other themes came up that were already visible as important in the previous trend study. One is value, understanding the value of marketing, developing value propositions, and B2B CRM fit under this heading. This is still clearly a key priority domain. Another recurring theme is governance. And this is the governance of interorganizational relationships. How do we align increasingly complex value chains? So this was and still is an important topic. And finally, given that it came up in the unsolicited way, I believe we need to add to this sustainability and try to understand a little bit on what are the consequences of this drive towards sustainability that we obviously see in B2C markets, but what are the consequences in B2B? And what is the role of this triple bottom line, economic impact, obviously, but what about environmental and social impacts? Now you can ask, once I've shown you all these outcomes, so what, right? What do we do next? Well, from our side, at the academic side, we will share these as research priorities with the academic community. I will start as early as next week, but you had the scoop here. You were the first audience to hear about it. But next week, there is an online conference of the European Marketing Academy where I will host a special session on the topic, and I'll share this. And in the summer, the American Marketing Association has its annual conference, and there I'll organize a workshop on B2B marketing where, again, I'll share this. I've also included some of this in a call for papers for one of the leading marketing journals for a special issue. This is the International Journal of Research in Marketing. At the same time, together with Andrew Peterson, he is our associate director doing a lot of work which is oriented towards the doctoral students. Together with Andrew, we will use these insights to help doctoral students think of new courses we may want to offer to them as they and help them embark on relevant research projects. And by extension, we will try to help academic scholars, not just doctoral students, in those endeavors. At the corporate side, Lynn and Rand are using insights from this trend study to shape their new member offerings and prioritize content. They use it to upgrade their B2B mastery capability assessment tool. And you will already see this reflected in the B2B mastery curricula and track series in new offerings in 2022, such as VOC in the age of COV. I love those abbreviations, right? Agile NPD, mastering business-to-business data analytics. Those topics are very closely related to key priority domains that come out of this trend study. So that's it. That's all that I have to share. I want to thank you for your attention, and I believe my time is up, so I'll just hand the floor back to Lynn.
Thank you so much. You know, it is gratifying. I know that it was a lot of work. It's a lot of work to get the feedback in, as well as to be able to roll it all up and produce the results that you did for us, Stefan. So I've asked folks in the chat or by email to just give us some feedback. We'll also be discussing this more in depth at the next Marketing Excellence meeting as well. So we're just continuing to integrate what you find and what we feed to you and what you hear from the academic world. But I do think that we have probably the strongest educational programs because of this as well. So thank you so much for that. So we're going to move to our agenda now.